Do you want to game with your significant other in a well-lit room? Or maybe you'd like to press the X button for them while a wind machine blows air in your face. Or maybe you just want to game with them with a dumb smile on your face. Either way, I share your dream, and I wanted to start gaming with my wife too. And believe it or not, she didn't want to play Diablo 4 with me, so I had to find out another way to get her hooked. These 4 games are games that we've played together and she has greatly enjoyed. So I'm going to go through each of them one by one and share with you just what was so much fun about the experience. The first game that we played together was Overcooked 2, and this was a great introduction to playing co-op games together. My wife had some limited video game experience, but we're talking SimCity, The Sims, and maybe some old like Age of Empire type game that came in a cereal box. When we started playing this game together, it was pretty simple. It was a lot simpler than what you're seeing in the trailer that I'm putting on the screen right now, and we were able to learn the basics together. Now, as somebody that actually worked in kitchens for a long time, I had a certain order of operations and things that I wanted to do in order to be efficient, and it was really funny the debates we'd have about how we would go about cooking all of these meals for our customers. I highly recommend that people pick this up as an intro if they haven't really played any other games together. I think that it's pretty simple to get into, and you can even play with more than just 2 players if you have enough controllers. It's a pretty fun game to pick up and put down as well, because it is a small commitment every time you do a stage. So it's definitely a good starter game for a couple that wants to play something together. The next game that we played together was Stardew Valley, and I think anyone that's played a game with their partner has probably played this or at least considered it, because this game is incredible on its own. Even if you're not looking for a game to play with a partner, this is just a game that you should play because there's simply so much to do. But when you do play with a partner in local co-op, it is a lot of fun. It has a split screen, but you are not tied to where the other person is, and it means that you can really go about your day doing different tasks all around the farm and the world itself. So for example, I would spend a lot of time doing the fishing and the questing in the mines while my wife took care of a lot of the farm duties. We would set up little daily schedules of what we wanted to get done, and as the world kind of expanded and our relationships with the townspeople expanded, we had more and more goals of what we wanted to achieve. There's literally something for everybody in this game. It's such a good game to play with somebody else as well, because you can tailor the experience of how quickly you want things to progress. At the beginning, you can set how much money different items that you sell will be worth, and that will allow you to accelerate through the game if there's 2 people earning money, or you can pare it down if you want it to be a little bit slower of a game where you progress a little bit more slowly. I think the single best part about Stardew Valley is that nobody was forced to do something they didn't want to do. So my wife really didn't have any need or desire to want to go into the mines or any of the other dungeons to explore adventure and slash slimes. So I took care of that, and I really enjoyed having those experiences and doing that type of gameplay. But when I wanted to, I could still come back to the farm and help with clearing for the season and planting some seeds, doing some watering, or maybe just milking the cows. About a month ago, my wife and I started playing Super Mario Wonder together for the Nintendo Switch, and we've been having an absolutely delightful time doing so. The game isn't too hard, but does have challenge if you want to go for some of the extra coins and items that you can get in the different stages, but the stages themselves don't take too long and are pretty easy to do in a short sitting. It's also a very fun co-op game because as somebody moves around the stage, they will pull the screen with them, and you do have to be in sync to be able to avoid sudden death from pit, enemy, or other obstacles. This is a game that for the most part is really fun to do with 2 players, although I will say some stages really seemed like they were made for 1 player, and there were a few times where we said, okay, well, you take on this one, and if you can't do it, then I'll try it out, and vice versa. That way we could probably beat a stage that required 1 player, and then we could go back and play the next stage as 2 players once again. Super Mario Wonder isn't just classic Mario stages. There are also puzzle stages, search stages, and battle stages. So there's a lot of different gameplay types for you and your partner to enjoy. And it is also a game that 4 players can play if you really wanted to get a bunch of friends in on the action. However, I will say it's already hard enough with 2 players pulling the screen in different directions. I think some levels will be pretty hard with 4 people running around trying to all move in different directions and explore different parts of the stage. The last game I have to recommend to you all is Civilization 6. Now, I bought this on Steam for about $7 a few days ago, and I've already been playing it so much with my wife. This game is awesome. You can play online with local area network, whatever type of co-op, but there also is hot seat, couch co-op, whatever you want to call it. So I will sit at my computer with my wife, and we will take turns playing in a co-op match with a bunch of computer nations, and we are having an absolute blast. She gets really into these types of games, even though there is minor amounts of combat, although it's not really skill-based or anything. It's just building up your army and kind of moving them into tiles where enemies are. But there's so much more to this game. The first time that we played it together, we played for about 2 hours, and we said, okay, well, we'll get off at that point. And then we ended up playing for another 2 hours after that and didn't end up reading that night. So it really is pretty addictive, and it's very fun to work together again and take on the whole world. In our current game, the USA has, declared war on my wife, which was pretty offside in my opinion. So I happen to be on the other side of them and have swiftly brought justice to that part of the world. And my wife's happy little nation is very much at peace and safe from US domination. This game is also on mobile and all of the consoles, so you don't have to get it on PC. I think it would work just fine with any sort of game system that you have, because you just take your turn with the controller and then you hand it over to the other person. I definitely recommend trying this one out. I think it's a really good sell for anybody that is not into a lot of the more like action or real-time games. There's a lot of talking and thinking time, and it's really fun to enjoy together with your partner. Okay, so that's it for my list of games that I've played with my wife, and I would recommend all 4 of them for sure. But if I had to rank them, I would say that Stardew Valley is securely in the #1 slot for me, and then Civilization 6 would be next, followed by Super Mario Wonder, and then by Overcooked. But again, these games are all great, and I think that they would all do the job for you, especially the ones that aren't Super Mario Wonder, because all of them will be on sale for very cheap prices at various times during the year. So they're pretty easy to pick up and pretty low risk in terms of investment. Well, that's it for me, and I hope you've enjoyed this video, and hopefully you can get to some couch co-op gaming with your significant other, or maybe just a family member or a friend. And if you have played these games, let me know what you think about them. And finally, if you have any recommendations of your own that I didn't mention, I would love to hear about them, because maybe that will be the next game that my wife and I play together.